Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to NJCAAE, powered by Esports U. I'm Binks, and I'm joined today by Boxy. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I feel a bit budget, but I
Yeah.
think I think I'm doing pretty good.
I'm first of all, I'm proud of you for getting that acronym right at the beginning because NJCAA is a hard one. We were making,
You just did
you
it.
know,
You just did it.
I just did it. That's true. Okay, we were making jokes about it. In the green room, just kind of saying how hard it is to say that live. But I guess we both did it. Also, I'm disappointed at our production because there we go.
There we
There we
go.
go. We yep. I'm not actually joined by Bings. I'm joined by Budget Fellow once again. We've already done this like 2 weeks ago, and we're gonna keep the beat up. So, uh, Bings slash Budget Fellow, why don't you take us through the teams today?
Well, we have Western Tech, and they're going to be taking on the Hawkeye or Red Tail Esports. Um, I'm quite curious between these two teams because we have a few statistics where if I actually hop right on up, I actually have them open because both these teams really need the win today. We have Western Tech, which is going to be, if they don't win today, then they're not going to be in too much of a good position because they're going against Barton next week. And Barton, in case you missed it, 2 weeks ago when I was here, they are actually 6-0. They are having an absolutely crazy season. So if you're a Western Tech fan, you really need to give them that extra bit of support in chat because it is going to be an absolute crazy one today.
Yeah. So just to put it into perspective a little bit further, there is 7 teams per group, if I'm not mistaken. Each one gets one bye. But both of these teams currently in their group, they're 4-1, and they have 2 games if you count today left. So whoever loses more than twice in their groups is definitely not getting playoffs. 2 playoff spots go into each group for top 2 teams, and then the last 2 playoff spots are decided between the 3 groups just off of some weird tiebreaker rules that we'll not be diving into because they would fry my brain for sure. But yeah, like you said, Barton is playing Western Tech next week, meaning and they're 6-0 currently, which means Western Tech they need to win today. If they don't win today, they also likely will not beat Barton and likely not make playoffs. If if the other team ends up winning, they can definitely still take it next week. But if they win today, they pretty much secure playoffs.
Essentially, playoffs aren't going to necessarily be decided next week. It's the lead up to playoffs. So we just talk about, oh, it's the end game. It's the end of the season. We got to really see how these teams are standing. But it's a matter of how well they're able to really switch things up and really best set themselves up. And speaking of setting themselves up, that's exactly what the ban phase is for. So our 3 maps, Oregon, Cafe, and Clubhouse, starting off with Oregon, the defensive bans and attacking bans really shape up what we'll see.
Yeah, the first one's gonna be Thatcher, which is really nothing surprising. We've seen Thatcher banned pretty much everywhere for what the last 3 years now, and in Oregon it's not gonna be any different. Second attack, if you okay, did I just lag out? Am I good? Am I good? I'm
You
good.
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay,
You're back.
okay. I don't know. Production said lag detected,
No,
but yeah, like I said, Jackal. If you had to pick the number 2 contender for the most ban operator attack, it'd probably be Jackal. Third one is going to be Rooney, which is a little bit interesting. But do we have any predictions on the third one or on the last ban rather? Sorry.
last one. I mean, Aruni's interesting for sure. We could really look at how Castle's going to be a really big crutch pick, but maybe Mira, Kaid.
Okay. Well,
Interesting for sure, where you're not going to disable those hatches. You'll be able to go with a Maverick or Habana, as all our hard breachers are left unbanned. So really basic on attack, exciting Rooney ban. And so if you're really wondering why would you care about a Rooney ban, it's because of all the utility you're able to deny with a Rooney. So it gives the attacking or sorry, yeah, the attacking team a lot more room to push up and not be as cautious. And it really forces the defense to be a lot more aware of their surroundings. Based on being aware of their surroundings, Warden, that's a pretty interesting pick, especially here for this first round.
yeah, I do want to see how much of mirror play we will see throughout this game because it's been this pattern that we've been noticing anywhere else than tier 1 and tier 2 gameplay is that whenever Mira's left unbanned, teams are just not comfortable playing her anymore at this point because she's been banned for so long. And, well, even if she's available, teams just don't end up bringing her, which is the case line up in round 1. I do want to see if they end up utilizing her later on, or if maybe at least Western Tech bring her, because she is extremely strong on Oregon. You know, she can be good on kids, she can be good on bedroom, she can be good in the basement holes and even in the dining one. So you can really not miss if you bring Mira. And it's a shame that she isn't being played. She has a C4 as well, a secondary shotgun, and a vector, which is, well, it actually shreds anyone you shoot with to pieces, right?
Yeah, you definitely have a point there. Early on into the push from Western Tech, I'm looking for them to go for more of a tower control, but more a really solid clear. They want to take something and know that it's theirs. They don't have much on the flank watch. They opted not to take that Nomad. Instead, we have Silver being the most prevalent flex operator, which is going to be the Ayana with those Gemini replicators. Scanning out, and look at all of that information all gathered just from running. They now know that they would be able to run right on in all the way across through meeting. Meanwhile, we have a split push. Boxy, I actually like this. Having 3 go for this tower, but there's no one down below. But you know what they don't have to worry about? With either a Twitch, now being able to jump, they can go through the drone hole, which is possibly being watched by Pete, or they can actually go down below. I normally opt to go down below because that's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about losing out on all this information. But Twitch, you can't be jumping through a barricade. That's a lot more obvious than if you were to just go through the drone hole to your left. You're making your life a lot harder, and it's going to get shot right on out.
Yep.
Boxy, that one just hits you, hurts you in the chest.
That's very true. I mean, Twitch definitely wasted a drone there, but just to play devil's advocate, if you want to go for a clear of utility from down below, you do need you actually need to have some control, whether that's either drones or actually clear, you know, the green part of the map, and then meeting, and then basement. You need to clear most of that before you can actually safely clear from below. But we're gonna get the entry pick, and it's actually Atlas taking off the sledge early on. Well, not really early on. There's only 75 seconds left to play with in the round, but the attackers, they have at least a little bit of control going here around. They still haven't actually pushed aside, but they've cleared out most of the rest of the map. Valkyrie just playing in the bomb site, very patiently spots out I think it was the Gemini replicator, just based off of how it was just sprinting around headlessly. We'll end up seeing what happens with it. Bandit chugs the C4, sadly doesn't connect, but just 50 seconds left in Western Tech. They need to make their push, close off round 1.
45 now. Interesting use of the Valkyrie cameras. As you mentioned, 5v4. Boxy, I don't see much coming here. It seems like it's going to be a really 0 to hero push on the side of Western Tech, because they don't have enough of these critical points held. We do see that the Toxic Babe was detonated at the top of white, which means they have the proper positioning. But look at this flank from Pete, lighting up WTCE. Won't be able to finish off the kill, though. That will force a rotate. Meanwhile, Pete is going to be able to swing onto a second player. That's the Thermite now down. And with 10 seconds, this push has to come underway. Atlas with a double kill, bringing it down to a 2v5, and it seems almost hopeless as Case is down and protected by the Wamaya Pete. And they're on the cusp of a flawless round as both of the remaining players are trying to swing to get in, but it will be Atlas to collect onto a 3K, and that will be the first round going the way of the defenders.
Yeah, and that's good for Hawkeye, but do you want to talk about the fact that it took us exactly 30 seconds in round 1 to get the audio bug happening? That must be a record, right? That must be a record. I mean, last week when the new season dropped, I believe there were 3 separate streams up at the same time doing NJCAA matches, one of which was me and Fellow, one of which was Chief and Stickula, and then there was another one who I don't know who worked it. But out of those 3 streams, I think we had at least 10 audio bugs combined between us, and we were very lucky here with Fellow. Ours always resolved itself between the rounds, but all the other streams I just needed to rehost constantly, and it looks like that's going to be the case. I'm not sure if we're going to go for the rehost just yet, especially if the players don't have an audio bug, but it is a little bit annoying. It's, you know, hard for us to talk over the game. Crazy, it's even more or even less appeasing for the viewer to watch with, well, just some humming going on in the background. This kind of sounds like when I tried hooking up my mic to the Go XLR today, and it just didn't work. This is what it sounded like.
You're having a little bit of PTSD.
Well,
this humming just sounds like whenever people hear me talk, but regardless, I think the players are going to get used to it, as there's a really similar ring to just a...
5 seconds left.
You see, it's the exact same. But regardless, I want to talk about this Echo pick. It's quite interesting, and the Alibi shotgun. Is there a change that I missed, Boxy? Because I don't remember this shotgun being the absolute greatest.
Yeah, neither do I. I guess I've seen it play a little bit. Those slugs, they aren't horrible. They do hit like a horse. And the Elby's, I think it's called MX Storm, something like that. It got nerfed a few seasons back. The recoil got increased a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. But it also did get a 1.5 times skill, which is pretty strong, especially if you can control the initial kick that it makes. So I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe they just need it for rotates, but they do have the mute for that. The mute though is on the MP5K, so I guess it's just to bring a shotgun to kind of be able to open up those rotates, at least lines of sight, without just wasting all of your mags. Especially because Rooney is banned, and
And we lost Boxy. It looks like he got the mute
Bomb
glitch
located
too.
by attackers.
But regardless, Sam going for a really aggressive push down these laundry stairs, holding the angle. Now he has to be careful not to be spotted out through these little slits in the shield that could sow a lot of devastation. Lobster's Echo Drone also not being spotted out. Both Fire and Fury, don't forget the smoke within the blue corridor. That's one thing that the attackers are also going to have to worry about. But this is so interesting. Sam has pushed up almost completely on their own. Lobster hasn't spotted them out. Nade will be cooked. That gives away the location. That's now all these players inside of Laundry now having to turn their attention. Stunned from the Echo Drone. Meanwhile, WTCE is going to be down and killed by Pete. They're once again getting that opening kill. Silver to get a nice little refrag. That will prove that it will not be one more flawless round. Deadly Parrot also to add on to it, but they're lit up to a little sliver of HP. Using that shotgun to great advantage. You said it hits like a horse, and it definitely does, as Sam is now down on the ground. And with a 4v3, Hawkeye is just waiting for their impending doom. Can they stop it?
well, there is just a minute left, and like you said, Sam, he is down currently, and Capital, Deadly Parrot, he is on literally a slither of HP. You sneeze at him, and he just gets taken out. There we go. The mute will push up. He will see the trail of blood there. Here's the revive. Goes for the swing. That's 2 for Vagans. Absolutely huge. He gives his team the advantage. 3-2 for the defenders now. And yes, Elby is low, but Capital is lower. Doesn't matter though, as he finds one. The exothermic charge breach comes out. It's technically a 2v2. Who will get it? 30 seconds left, and the Echo is still up to deny any potential plants in the late round. C4 there as well. It's going to be Lobster picking up another kill. It's all up to Deadly Parrot. He will need 3 in the round to clutch this one out. He has the LMG, 40 bullets left in it, so it's definitely doable. But nope, gets shut down by Lobster, and that's 2 for him. That's 2 for the Mutant round. And 2 goes to the defenders as well.
I like what we saw started from Western Tech. I just don't like the way it was finished, if that makes sense. It was very smart, and I really liked Sam's push down those laundry stairs. But I think more needs to be done with it. Whether you have one of your teammates drone up for you immediately once you know you have that control, or you have your teammates cause a lot more chaos on the side of blue. Because within that, if you have one player push up, they're behind enemy lines already. They're in the sight,
Attackers need
for
to
Pete's
locate
sake.
and defuse bombs.
But regardless, I had to make the Pete joke. I'm just waiting for it to make it again. And I guess I should say for Sam's sake in this case. But they need to have a diversion in order to push up. Or whether Sam just goes for a nade and pushes up right off the nade. Because before that, all the players on the side of Hawkeye had no clue. And he waited so long that you actually saw that the Echo player, and I believe it was Wagons who was on the Echo last. No, it was not Wagon on the
10
Echo.
seconds to
It was Lobster. It was Lobster.
It was
He's
Lobster.
on Castle now. Yeah, Wagons
Yeah.
was on mute. He was the one that swung me. Stairs also got a double.
Bomb
Exactly,
located by
that's what it
attackers.
was. But
Yeah.
it's just a matter of pushing
Attackers are
under
heading out to
distraction.
defuse a bomb.
Well, the thing is though, Hawkeye, they won top floor, they won basement, so now they have to play a tertiary site, which is always hard to defend. The teams aren't usually used to defending those, at least not to the extent, the experience that they have on both basement and kids. So we will see if they can keep their dominant streak of defense up, or if this is the first round that go in favor of Western Tech. I do hope they get at least 1 on the board. Keep in mind that this is a best of 3, and there's always map 2. But it would be nice to see Western Tech pull up at least a few rounds here. And when's a better time to start than now?
Indeed, Boxy, no time like the present. I really like that we're seeing this big drone game. I just don't like that there's nobody following up those drones, especially when you're trying to look at how far ahead Silver is. They have all this plethora of information, but nothing to go along with it, because the moment that you don't have someone push up, you have holes that Pete can use to their advantage on the Wamai, because as they swing around, although Sam was droned up and it might have been good information, they will still get caught off guard from the lack of prevalent and relevant information.
Yeah, it's always a problem if it's pretty much like droning for yourself. You don't follow up on your teammates' drones. Like, yeah, you do have information about where someone is, at least approximately, but the intel is old, and, well, you could have capitalized off of it if you just, followed your teammate's drone in the first place. But I guess that's not going to be the case for Sam. He's been the entry death for, I think, both rounds 1 and 3. Also died pretty quickly in round 2, so he didn't contribute much, but that's a second one. Gonna get picked up by wagons here on the mute MP5K. So Hawkeye's man advantage is just increasing. Again, they show no signs of slowing down the attackers now. They're spread very thin. We do see the thermite up on the big tower stairs, and the other two attackers are just kind of on the other side of the map, really. And yes, that means that they may have a crossfire onto meeting, but as soon as they get picked off, there's no more crossfires, there's no more refrag potential, there's pretty much nothing.
On Twitch refrag potential, Pete playing with fire. If they push up at the right time, they could catch 2. Once again,
No
getting
way.
the 1.
No.
Swing around.
No,
Look for the
turn
head. He's behind
around.
you.
No.
Pete.
Tragic. I know the players don't have outlines and we have them, but that was something that you need to see. It's a common corner as well. Now, somehow, some way, Twitch is going to get revived, but she's left all alone as Atlas gets a second one. It's with the smoke babe nonetheless. He doesn't even have diffuser, and it's zoned off by the smokes canister. 20 seconds left to go with the Twitch DMR, by the way, the 416. Again, hits like a horse, but it's a pretty bad weapon, especially when you can bring the F2. So I know what the Twitch there was thinking. Might end up mattering. Another one for Atlas. And, well, the first half of the first half is pretty much flawless for Atlas. They're 3-0 up, and they've won, well, any bombs that they've attempted holding so far, which is pretty huge.
And it's not like they're winning it by the 1 kill or the 2 kill. We saw a flawless round on the first one. We saw a near flawless on the second. But it doesn't mean there's no holes. On the side of Hawkeye, they're not going to get... I think we're missing someone. There we go. Never mind. Sorry. They have holes where we saw Sam push down the stairs, and now that we're going back up to kids, they had the split push initially, but it's a matter of managing their time. I want Western to take something, say, this is ours. We're staying here, and we're going to completely continue moving up.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of holes, there was definitely a huge hole in the peripheral vision of whoever was on the Wamai. They just saw the person there and they didn't shoot. They ended up not only not securing their first kill, but also dying in the process. So, well, you're gonna have to do better than that. I know you're 3-0 up currently, and I know you're 3-2-1 in terms of field deaths and assists, but still, that's something that you can't have happen to you in a comp game. So, I hope he's gonna pay more attention to what he sees with the corners of his eyes in the future. But we're back on Kid's bedroom. So what do you think's gonna happen here?
Well, I hope it's not going to be a repeat for Hawkeye. I can tell you that much. I like to see that these matches get as exciting as possible. However, that interesting mechanic there. If you throw an alibi too close to a wall, it actually won't deploy. So good on this alibi for actually checking to make sure that all of their clone. It's not a clone. Prisma replicators. Prisma hologram. Good job making sure they all set up properly. But furthermore, on just this different idea of ways that Western has to come in, they should be taking control of Master, and they want to get that wall open. If they have the thermite and the Twitch, you don't want to rely on the Twitch, though, where both of those walls are destructive. So then you go below with Silver Shelp, and you're able to actually shoot right on up. You can either shoot them, or you can use that skeleton key that it works so very well. And this can all be done from outside the map, which hopefully Silver is going to demonstrate to us.
Nope. They're just sprinting into, well, garage, I assume? Nope, they're sprinting around. That's a huge rotate. Whatever you're committing there.
They're running a marathon. It's a marathon.
Was that a wrong spawn that just ended up like, hey, let me just circle the map twice? Regardless, though, Sam, well, he finally contributes something. He gets the entry, and it's going to be Pete falling. So that's a huge opener for Western Tech. If they can just keep fragging out, getting those reframes 1-for-1, they should end off winning the round. And this is the first time that they've had this early advantage, if I remember correctly, meaning that if there's a round that they're going to win, it's probably going to be this one. But again, it all hinges on them being able to actually keep their advantage up.
Well, they have the man. Do they have the time? For now, they do. They have the
do.
drone. Sam has the Twitch droning for them, but don't let a Twitch drone go in all alone. A Twitch drone attracts attention, and where there's attraction, that means that there's going to be a distraction, which leaves a lot more room. Sam is doing a great job shooting up, but that's not the right person to be using. You have a buck on your team. Use that skeleton key. I know Canadians are way too nice, but you can ask that Canadian operator for a bit of help, and he will gladly lend it to you, and he won't care about the consequences.
Well, I think the Buck is just busy running a marathon around the map still. Probably making his second lap, sorry, around Small Tower right about now. We'll definitely see what ends up happening. But we do see Atlas here on the smoke, 6-1 currently. He's really been a thorn in Western Tech's side so far. He's just playing close on the doors. Lobster will fall, and now the smoke will have to go for a swing. Doesn't really matter though. The attackers just picking up the defenders one by one like flies. Atlas gets drone, takes out the drone with a little bit of trouble there, but nothing too major. It is a 3v5. There you go. Alibi spots one, and there you have it. That's why the select shotgun is there. It just deletes the first attacker off the board. Wagons follows up with one. Atlas with a third one. It just a sea of orange kills there. 20 seconds left. The smokes from Capital are coming out, and now the case has not only been dropped by spotted by the defenders. The smoke canister comes out as well, and Deadly Parrot, he gets one, but he's extremely low on HP, and he's zoned up by the smoke canister. There we go. Second for Atlas. Can he make it 3? Yes, he can. Does the defenders somehow swing on back? They bring this round back from being down 3 versus 5, and they do it very dominant.
Man, I didn't see that one coming out, but it was a matter of who had the time on their hands, who had the utility on their hands. And at the end of the day, although the utility was still in the pocket of Western Tech, we saw Hawkeye just use it to great effect. They were able to really maneuver around, and I think we should highlight Atlas once again with those toxic babes, where they were able to throw it into key positions and still maneuver around their own smokes. An interesting thing about those is, I don't think it's still client side, but it allows them to really have a lot more area awareness where you can see partially through the smoke and it's not a full coverage like you see with smoke grenades.
Definitely agree with you. We're back in basement though, and Hawkeye, they were pretty dominant on it. I guess they gave a slight chance to Deadly Parrot to clutch it out last time around, but well, he still fell short, and I don't know. It's really not looking good for Western Tech. If I'm not mistaken, we were talking about how Western Tech is the team that really needs to win this week, because let me rephrase. If you have more than 2 losses throughout a regular season here in NJCAA, you cannot make playoffs in any way, shape, or form. And both teams today, they have 1 loss. However, the losers today is going to have 2 losses, and Western Tech, they're playing a team that is currently undefeated in the league next week, meaning that their chances, sadly, aren't too high. If Western Tech don't win today, they're not making playoffs. But back to Sam, that's the second entry for him in a row. He's really woke up, and now he's playing for Intel. He's actually getting those entry picks. I love seeing that, especially because speed. He was doing well at the beginning, but now he's getting sloppy, and I think this is the second round in a row, actually, where Sam just took off Pete in the first 40 seconds, right?
I think you have a point there. Pete off the board. That as long as all those ADSs are down, though, I think we should be okay. But this is a really crazy roam, and the shotgun once again. I'm really curious.
Oh.
I think we should be okay. Silver all the way down and showing once again there is a clear hole, and believe it or not, it's actually going to be that Gemini replicator turning off. That's going to notify Lobster a lot more. Silver making their way down. They are unaware of the alibi flank, but Lobster knows that Legacy is going to be coming from, I believe that was all the way inside a freezer. Wagons also to find Deadly. Now the push from Western is now once again falling apart, and it's all a matter of being able to push and play the right angles and maneuver your way into sight. They had the man advantage once again. The opening kill, to be exact, without a refrag. WTCE Sports trying to really maneuver their way in, but Sam also taking all of this HP. It's just a matter of finding your opponent. And Boxy, it seems like Western just is not able to find these
Attackers recovered
shots.
the bomb diffuser.
Definitely seems like it. A nice nade is about to come out from the sledge, but gets shut down by Lobster last second. That's 2 on him for the round. He's been absolutely relentless on that silenced MP5 on the Echo today. It's a 2v4. It's not unwinnable, but given that both Western Tech players still alive are in those fraggy-ish roles on Twitch and Iana, and they both have 2 kills combined and all 7 deaths, I'm not too optimistic about it. Again, the attack, whenever they start losing numbers, they just seem lost. They don't know where to push. They don't know what to do. I feel like their communications at the moment just aren't all that well. Alibi on the flank though finds one with the shotgun. Can she make it 2? Yes, because for some reason Iana was just standing there. Was she on the replicator? No, she had her gun in the hand, right? I'm not going blind.
You're not yet. Not yet.
No,
I'm a little bit baffled. Frank, watch a drone. That would help a lot.
Yep.
But Boxy, we can also talk about that great util use from Hawkeye.
We could talk about util use from Hawkeye. We could also talk about the lack of util usage from Western Tech.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
I
attackers.
guess you got a point there. But I want to see going forward. We see them using their abilities, and I don't want that criticism to seem like, well, we're using our abilities. I don't mean this in any sort of harsh way. It's just a matter of using your abilities to help set you up even further. When you're going for any sort of drone, you want to make sure that droning does the exact same thing, sets you up even farther. The 3-second rule, where information after 3 seconds will no longer be relevant.
Discover the location of a bomb.
And just saving drones, 2 drones left after your prep phase. That's not the position you want to be in. You want to be at least, and I mean at least at 4. You use 1 drone to figure out what's going in, call out to your team so you can use the new crazy operator switch on attack. But besides that, you want to make sure you have more, because now that's 6 drones total.
I could be mistaken here, but I am 90% sure that attacker repick is still banned. I know it was banned last week when I cast it, along with the new Goyo. Okay, production confirmed. So attacker repick should be banned. I actually haven't seen if anyone's picked it. It's not really indicated in the game clearly, so I guess we should keep our eyes on that. Goyo, again, the rework one, he is banned as well, which is a shame. I really like him. The new op, also technically banned, but we've seen her. I don't think we've seen her yet, but last season when Thorn was supposedly banned, we've seen teams run her all day, every day. So I do assume we'll see at least a little bit of Sammy, and we're also playing on the same old 7 map pool. So there is that.
Interesting and good to know. But furthermore, if you don't have the repick, you should not be sending any single drone into sight. That information you acquire does not matter. And you should have gotten a lot of information there. Now, hopefully Atlas realizes where those shots came from and doesn't make the same mistake. But Sam shooting right down below on this showers corridor should give a little bit away. And judging by the fact that a nade was just cooked and thrown with no very clear intention, I don't think that the smoke was spotted out down below.
Definitely see a lot of vertical play being attempted here by both the attackers and defenders. We've seen the mute that play down below. We've seen that was played below, up and up. But he's gonna get the entry onto Sam. I don't know what it is with these two, but they just have some love tension going on. It's always them shooting each other first on entry. And sometimes it's Sam winning, sometimes it's Pete winning. I don't know why, but they always manage to find each other. I'm not sure if they're both just always pushing and holding the same spots respectively, but the fact that we've seen this exact fight happen, like, what, 4 times in a row now at least, is very interesting to me.
Ooh, great use of the Toxic Babe is going to be able to net a kill on the WTCE. Meanwhile, Pete's going to be able to get their second off the Deadly Panda. Or not Deadly Panda, sorry. Deadly Parrot. Wrong animal there. Silver is going to run into Pete once again, sitting at the bottom of those stairs. They have been sat there the entire round. Now finally being picked off, I assume. But regardless, you need to use that information, especially when they're sitting next to an exterior window that you can shoot through. That's just a crazy concept to think about. Silver finally making their way into dorms. But with 20 seconds, there is very little map control for Western, and a plant just seems off the table. Lobster finding legacies. And the spray out, Silver will deny Pete any more kills. Find a second one. 12 seconds. Can they make something happen? They have a long way to go. Time is running short. They're going to be able to grab the
Attackers recover
diffuser.
the diffuser.
But
5
on that
seconds
note,
remaining.
you have the coverage from almost every conceivable angle. Watching the hatch drop, it will
Operators,
not
you are out of
be
time.
so. Hawkeye will have the flawless half.
Yep. We are on match point. After the first 6 rounds here on Oregon, we are on match point. Let that sink in. Is Western Tech, they haven't yet won a single lousy round. And I really, really, really hope that that can change either on Oregon or then later on Cafe. By the way, just for wait, do we actually know whose pick is it? I know it says the top who defends and who attacks, but I'm not sure if it says. We also were given the map ban links today, so we probably should have looked into that before the game, but it is what it is. And I do want to know because if somehow, some way, this was actually Western's pick, well, there will be in a world of pain on Cafe Dostoevsky, which could be
Defenders,
starting
protect your bombs
quite
from
soon.
being defused by attackers.
Well, I think if we look at it this way, where Western Tech was on the left, I would assume that it would be Hawkeye's pick first because they would have chosen to have the attacking side first. So through my
Attackers have located the
analysis brain of Hawkeye not having, or sorry, of whoever chose this map getting to choose first, or sorry, not getting to choose their side first. Through all my convoluted and complex thinking, I do think that this was Western Tech's pick. There you go. There's my 2 cents.
Let's hope for their sake that it wasn't, because I honestly don't know how Cafe will go for them if that happens. Look at that! The first round that Western Tech are on defense, they actually are bringing Mira, which is something Hawkeye hasn't done. And yes, they're 6-0 up, but I was talking about this. Teams, they get so complacent with the map bans, with the map ban meta, that even if an operator that's perma-banned usually ends up being left in play, the operator just doesn't get brought, which is absolutely a shame. And oh, I hate seeing that. We keep seeing it more and more often. On the other side, though, speaking of unconventional picks, it is going to be Montagnier pushing into dirt and mailing the Mira. So I guess there is that at least. I'm going to back off now, let his teammates drown. There's also a Kali. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the combination of a Kali and a Montagnier?
I'm not the biggest fan. I'm also not the biggest fan of a solo push, which is what Atlas did go for, and it will actually favor Western Tech. They're going to have the man advantage once again, but it's also a matter of if they are able to maintain this man advantage with Lobster and DB DeBots Montang. You can try to come up with however we can pronounce that, Boxy. But in the meantime, we have Ace getting ready to make their way into sight, and with a minute 55, this is a really good position for Western Tech, as they've already been able to clear out the entirety of blue. Lobster also getting the refrag now of WTCE. That's the Rook to fall. Another interesting pick that we've seen on this round, as DB is made their way into sight. We're going to see them go for a plant. Where is the coverage, Western? You have someone inside of your sight. The C4 will be successful. Legacy is coming up huge with a double. That's the C4 and the headshot from the Vector. Whipping out the shotgun and switching all around wagons to find Deadly. Let's see if Hawkeye, can they have this game end in a flawless fashion? Pete also making their way up. They've made their way through Big Tower, down tower stairs, and have the pressure onto Electrical, but it's a Legacies with their triple kill, leaving it all left up to the Cali of wagons. They don't have the fire rate advantage. They only have the damage advantage of the sniper. But when it comes to swinging around and only trying to find a headshot, it is going to be the Vector that is the superior weapon. Creeping up slowly, sniper in hand, all around pillar. 45 seconds. Can they get it done?
Well, it's definitely a hard one to win. You don't want to be in a 1vx with Kali. Her primary is so slow firing in the secondary SMG, so lackluster, but she actually manages to find the second one. Can she make it 3? Yes, for some reason the Valkyrie is just not looking in the right way. Valkyrie very low on HP, she gets swung, but she wins the gunfight, and she keeps Western in contention from just one more round, which means it's not going to be a flawless 7-0 win for Hawkeye. No thinks that isn't happening, and more interesting, although I don't know how long that's going to last for, is the fact that no one has won an attacking round as of yet in our series so far.
Well, it does seem like that was a little bit more of a fluke from Hawkeye, but Western Tech, you have to give a lot of props to Legacies, as they really did hold down that site with great effect. Yes.
Can we talk about 2, in my opinion, massive blunders coming out from Hawkeye there?
Yes,
first one is going to be, they plant, sorry for cutting you out there, but the first one is they attempted a plant with the Montine side, and I think they used some utility. That's fine. That's whatever. But the fact that they already lost a man, it was their top fragger of Buck early on, and then they also had the sledge outside, not inside the building. He was
Yeah.
outside droning when they attempted the plant, which is not something that you can. Why would you do that? Just
Attackers
wait
need to
for a
discover
few
the
more
location of a
seconds, wait
bomb.
for your sledge to pull up so you can cover. And that was honestly
Or
the
bait the
defining moment of
C4.
the round, right?
Bait
Because
the C4.
three
That's a
people died.
huge thing.
Yeah.
You know
And
there's a mirror. You can hear the Velcro. Montang, when he has his
5
shield
seconds
completely
to
up and
insertion.
looking at C4, that doesn't do any damage to him.
yeah, a
Attackers are
second
heading out
blunder,
to
in my
defuse the
opinion,
bomb.
although a lesser one, is again the fact that we have seen a combination of Kali and of Montagne. Montagne is one of those operators that, as they are there, they have some presence. They can be menacing to push with and to hold against. But at the same time, they only have a pistol. When they're fully extended, they can't shoot back at all. So you're already going to be in the 4v5 in most of gunfights. And then you also mix in a Kali, who, like I said, primary, very slow firing. Secondary lackluster SMG, which again, you're not in a good position to win gunfights with. So the fact that they essentially went into their gunfights 3v5 there because of their operator picks, I'm not a fan of. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Setting up a breaching
Oh, you have a very solid point there. I know we get to see this upstairs fight, and Wagons going for the IQ. That is something that I'm a fan of, because even if you don't know where exactly to shoot, you have to now look up. And a great use of this Montagne once again to clear out any sort of roamers, as Sam can't do anything besides shoot Atlas. There's the top rank again. And Montagne, why are you peeking? Sam with a second huge headshot lobster to once again get the refrag. It feels like deja vu from the previous round, especially with Sam holding on to their life, but they should get away with
Oh
it while they
no.
can. They will be down by Wagons, but there's a great thing called point indicators, which are not enabled in these custom games. But Wagons will spray through the wall and be able to finish their kill onto Sam. Absolutely insane. It hurts your heart.
It also hurts my eyes. The fact that Sam, he got such a nice double. That was one for the books, especially compared to the rest of the plays we've seen from Western Tech so far. And then he just got greedy. He wanted more. He wasn't happy with what he had. He went for the re-swing, and that's when he met his fate at the hands of Alibi, if I'm or not Alibi, excuse me, IQ, which is just heartbreaking. If you at that point just get back to side or at least just lurk somewhere else, make the attackers hunt you down, that would have been so great. But no, you just had to re-swing. Speaking of swinging, though, Pete's going to swing onto Deadly Parrot, and he will take him out. It's a 2v3 at the moment, and defenders are being blocked into the side. Ace will shoot the Frost Mad last second before walking into it, but the breach has been open, so they could try establish a plant. That's exactly what the IQ is going to be doing. So I guess it is a 2v2 technically in terms of guns up and angles being held at least, but the plant has now been stuck, which means not only do the defenders have to go in the offensive, they also are at a man disadvantage. Lobster, Chunk, just a little bit of damage there off of Rook. Goes for the swing, finds one. Can he make it two? Yes, he can. And while we're going into Cafe with a 7-1 scoreline.
I normally don't say for a 7-1 that, hey, that reflects entirely what we saw, but I gotta be completely honest with you here, Boxy. That is entirely what we saw, a 7-1, and it did seem rather valid, if you do ask me. And it's largely off the fact that Hawkeye was really able to manipulate the sites, and Western was just not getting aggressive way they needed to, especially on sites. We saw them rushing to get into the actual map. They haven't actually gotten into the building yet within the final minute, and that's a big cause for concern.
I mean, I honestly don't know. I think we're missing some bigger piece. I wouldn't be surprised if excuse me, I'm blanking on the name here. That's on me. Western, excuse me. If Western are just playing with a sub or something, because honestly, these teams are both 4-1 in their group, and they are in the same group, meaning that they should be relatively close to one another, right? They should be doing relatively similar. It is true that Western, they haven't played the best team, the undefeated team in their group yet, but still, when you're both 4-1, you should be at least approximately leveled out, and that is not something we've seen on Oregon. Again, we could hope Cafe is a different story, potentially even see Clubhouse with an Oregon so dominating coming out from the Hawkeye group. I honestly don't think. I don't think we're gonna see 3 maps. I don't even think we're gonna see many rounds on Cafe besides the 7 that Hawkeye needs to win the round
Well, that
on the
is
map.
a very confident way to look at that. And I don't think it's ill-justified, but we're gonna be going to a quick 5-minute break, so don't go anywhere. Go fill up your water, roll your shoulders back. I know I am, because when we come back, we're gonna have a riveting second match on Cafe. We just saw an absolute blowout by Hawkeye, and I think that they're looking to make this a nice, quick, and swift 2-0. But in that regard, I'm joined by Boxy. I'm Binks. And I think that Western might have a little trick up their sleeves as we go hurtling towards Cafe.
Well, I mean, we better hope they have something up their sleeves. Possibly even an ace or a thermite. You know, that was the worst joke that I've ever made on a broadcast. But it
Was
is
it
what it
though?
is.
Was it the worst
But
joke you ever made?
well, no, actually, I cast with Fel a lot, and we say a lot of dumb stuff. But still, that was one that I'm not proud of. Regardless, though, it was such a dominant 7-1 coming out from Hawking that I'm really not sure what Western can do to keep themselves afloat in game two. I honestly think, as much as it pains me to say, this is going to be over so fast.
It does. It does hurt to say, and I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to see if we see something from Western. Western banning out the Jackal is not the most promising sign. We're really looking to have them really change up the meta, and I think keeping things basic could be a big difference. And I think we need to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that having that Aruni banned out, so those Shuria gates by Hawkeye in the previous game was a complete target ban and messed up all of their setups, causing them, especially in the defensive end, to say, all right, we have to go absolutely crazy. So with that in mind, that's what we need to start to look towards. But Hawkeye going for the initial ban onto the Cade. They're going Thatcher, Cade, so that gives a lot more freedom to Western Tech to set the pace, and we'll see who they choose to ban finally.
Well, I definitely don't want to see last. Oh no, it's the smoke. There's
Oh!
absolutely no way. Just for context, for anyone joining in late or just having forgotten, Hawkeye's Atlas, he's been absolutely relentless on that smoke. He was just raking up kills left and right and center, and so smoke just got taken out of contention there by Western Tech just to not have to play against Atlas on the smoke, which I find hilarious. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm quite interested.
Yeah,
The
in what?
Rook. Does
Okay.
WTCE only play on...
Hmm.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
Does
many bombs as they
WTCE
can.
only play on GIGN
Well,
operators?
challenge is done.
What's the Battle Pass challenge? Oh,
Bomb
you can't
located
get
by
Battle Pass
attackers.
challenges done in a custom.
Oh, that's true, actually. Well, maybe someone should tell him that because, the only reason I could think of to only bring those GIGN operators would be if I wanted to complete it challenging. I'm pretty sure WTCE has also been the person
10 seconds left before insertion.
on the Twitch, right? With
Yes,
DMR?
yes,
Yeah,
Twitch
the painful
DMR.
one for my eyes. I'm not a fan of that. I can get behind Rook. If you don't know what to play, if you're not a team that follows competitive very closely, you're just kind of here for the fun and you're just kind of playing for the kick out of it to represent your school. Okay, I get it. You've seen Rook in a lot of those content creator videos. Rook has been one of the tried and true operators that, yes, they are lackluster in comp, but they're still
Wait,
beloved
I
by the
need to cut
community.
you off, and I'm sorry to cut you
Cut
off.
me off, cut me
Why
off, do
is
it.
their armor still in the pack?
Oh, because someone doesn't know how to press F. I think someone just went on a early realm or something, didn't end up picking it up.
I
So
think we saw the same thing last game, though. This is hurting me. There should be a blaring alarm that someone did not take the Rook armor.
I don't have a problem with it necessarily not being taken yet. The biggest problem that I have with it is it's placed underneath the skylight, where not only can it be shot, if you want to go for it a little bit later in the round, you will absolutely 100% get shot for it. So there's that. That's the bigger question in my mind. Speaking of being shot from skylight, look who's there. It's Gridlock. She's bringing the LMG, the smokes, the track stingers already deployed, thrown through the skylight window. And now the Rook, if he wants to rotate under it, he's going to have to shoot them or make a lot of noise and take some HP damage.
That's a really interesting thing to see because of how much noise those track stingers make while deploying, as well as when you actually step on them. So I'm looking to see that they either use it to mask a plant, because a track stinger in combination with a smoke grenade could be proved to be absolutely lethal. But you can't forget that the one counter of gridlock is that one mine. If you're able to shoot it, then that's the only thing
No.
that is so very prevalent. Meanwhile, this rook has been able to sit beneath new hatch and new balcony this entire round, but Hawkeye still has not cleared them out. That is just absolutely astonishing. You have to make sure that you clear in a very methodical way, and that's exactly what Pete aims to do, as they will finally dispatch of that rook.
Well, I mean, the rook, he wasted a lot of
Meanwhile,
time. Maybe
Sam
not.
also looking to push their way up. They have gotten the flank, so whether or not they got past the gridlock is up for debate, but it will be proven that they were able to, and that's case down right inside a cigar shop, giving Sam a very powerful position to now hold. Wagons choosing to just push really aggressive, and the gridlock still on roof. Legacy is almost from the grave, is going to be able to land that Pokeball. You got to catch them all, but there's still 3 more that need to be caught. Whether or not that is up in the realm of possibilities is still out on the house.
Just 20 seconds left. The plan is being attempted by Pete. They're on the sledge. 1 kill on the round already. Can they make it more? Defenders are playing this way too patiently. They have no clue the plant is going down, and now again they have to go on the offensive. They need to find 3 kills and then go for the defuse. Only 36 seconds to do so, and 7 seconds are needed for the defuse, so they're quite pressed for time there. Atlas throws a flashbang, then gets shot at from Freezer, and Deadly Parrot, he's gonna have to get aggressive now. He somehow crosses without being shot, which is nice. Now they can capitalize on kills, but not for long. There we go. Atlas puts them down. Parrot just went up with the pistol. They found one, and well, that's it. That's all she wrote.
That is all she wrote. Canadian operator acting like John Wick. Pretty interesting to see if we could ever see a Canadian John Wick. It would like that would be a really interesting concept. If you take any one of your favorite movie characters and you just made them Canadian. My
What if
favorite's
my-
Wolverine.
What if my favorite movie character is Canadian? Already.
That's why I made the Wolverine
Oh,
example.
Okay, fair enough. That one went over my head. I'm not the biggest Wolverine fan. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm gonna get
Why? 'Cause he's
crucified for this.
Canadian?
But no, no, that's the best thing about him. I love Canadian people. Canadian people are nice.
Attackers
Very
are
nice.
located.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, Budget John.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
What do you mean? We have a nice thing going on here. Look at all of these beautiful plays being made by Western and Hawkeye. Look at all of these beautiful observing done by Max D, who you should
We
totally
can.
check out on
I
Twitter.
think we really need to highlight Max D. With
Max
all
D.
of this crazy highlighting, they know where to look, where the action is. You may not know where the action is going to be. Both of us may not know where the action is going to be. But Max D sometimes always finds a way to find it.
Yeah, you'd almost
It
swear.
baffles me. It baffles me. They're a soothsayer in that regard of just seeing everything.
You'd almost think Max D is just clairvoyant with how he can just predict where plays are going to happen. So props to him in that. Again, you should check him out on Twitter. He does some amazing stuff in R6. And speaking of amazing things, we also got to shout out K-Tad. He's been doing such an amazing job on production here for NJCAA and esports in general. So also lucky to have them. But back to the round on hand. We're 30 seconds in. No casualties just yet on either side. You've seen literally the standard thing done on every cafe round played ever, which is repel onto the roof and then open up the hatches and then throw from there. That is what you do when you're an attacker on Cafe and Rainbow Six Siege. There's just no alternatives, really.
Now, the reason why that's so prevalent on cafes is because it allows you to have a very solidified clear. And especially with a site like Kitchen, look at everything that Sam is looking at right now. Besides the drone, all the floor above Kitchen is destructible, which means that if the attackers play their cards right, and they do have the fuse, as well as the buck and the sledge, or they had the sledge as Sam will get the opening kill, they are then able to completely open up the flooring and just rain fire down below. Now, the one thing I'm concerned about with Wagons is that they need to make sure they clear the Valkyrie before they start going for these fuse charges, because you want to ensure that they are set up in a way that you're actually able to look and get into sight. Meanwhile, Sam maneuvering around pillars. Inside of the actual pillar room, they could catch another unsuspecting victim, but no, it's going to be Lobster ready and waiting for Sam. Even down to this 4v4, this gives a lot more room to Hawkeye.
Hunter really became the hunted there with time just falling off so early. Like you said, a lot of room for Hawkeye to play with. The secondary hard breaches coming out from Fuse as well, which means the hatch is going to get opened up. And then the bandits on the wall can get shot as well, which means technically Freezer Breach could be opened up later on in the round. A minute left to play with for the attackers. And yes, that in theory is a lot of time, but at the same time, I'm just kind of worried because both
What
teams
are
have been kind of slow on their attacks. Nice Fuse charge there, and for some reason, two defenders just almost sprint into it. They still
Into
make it up
it.
unscratched somehow, some way, but well, I have no clue. Lobster takes a lot of damage though. Dishes some back out. That's one Fuse kill, one kill for Lobster as well, and it's all up to the Rooney and the Ben to clutch this one out. 35 seconds left to play with. That's all they have going on.
Flash will go out. Smart
no.
as Silver to rotate back. Atlas flashing the wrong side of the wall. Silver now finally recovering as the retinas were previously burnt out. But now they see things a lot clearer. They'll be able to find a headshot onto Atlas. Now, accompanied by WTCE, it's just going to be a complete scramble around the site, but you can't forget, Hawkeye, you got to get in there with the plant.
Oh, no.
Fuse charges going off. You're going to be able to see one kill, but a triple kill from Silver. Just stay alive. You need to hide, my friend. Don't show your head. Swinging out, they'll still be able to get it. That's a 4K for Silver. Western on the board, 1-1.
Well, first off, the swing there was really unnecessary, and yes, it did end up winning the round, but at the same time, like you said, you can just hide. There was so few seconds left on the clock that it just makes more sense for you to hide and make the attacker come to you. I guess I can't harp on them too much, though, because this is the first time since, 0-0 on both this and map 1, we've actually seen the teams in equilibrium. Other than that, on map 1, Hawkeye has always just been ahead, and increasingly so. So the fact that we're seeing some early signs of resistance coming out from Western this time around do make me happy, even if they want a 1v1 by the skin of their teeth.
Four
Oh,
people getting armors.
oh,
Five.
let's
Ah,
go!
hey!
Okay, well, we're slowly but surely progressing, so there is that. We're also...
Thank you, Max. Thank you for celebrating with us, Max. We needed that today.
Well, back on the top floor, and let's see if the defensive setup changes at all. The Black Guys are being deployed, just like in round 1. I think their positions are also relatively similar to where they were. And I don't think there's any real variance in the defenders' operator picks. They all just kind of are doing the same thing. Again, we have dropped the Rook number, or the Rook armor rather, under the skylight, which is worrying, but at least all 5 got picked up. So there is that.
So last time we actually saw a more aggressive push from Hawkeye, but not aggressive in the sense you think. It was more aggressive in forgetting about some of these key angles. We saw Legacies, sorry, not Legacies, we saw WTCE actually be the player under new hatch or on new balcony, and they were able to stay alive for a very long amount of time. That's also going to be corrected by Pete, as both those hatches will be opened quite prominently. And now here comes the drones. We also saw, just a final recap, there's a lot to recap, especially in these first rounds, was Sam go for the flank. Beautiful push from Atlas, though. That's really using what you are used to in information. All the way down from hell, they'll shoot up into heaven and be able to find the Rook of Legacies. They won't be able to make any sort of impact on the round, as their armor is not going to be able to help them.
I really tried coming up with a Bible reference when he said straight from hell into heaven, but I just came up short. I'm not the biggest Bible knower, so my heart aches for that one. But look at those yellow pings. I'm pretty sure VTC also is bleeding now, or rather JV. Sorry, VTC is obviously the team name, but no one else has it, so it gets a little bit confusing. But yeah, JV, he's also in pain right now because they just got yellow ping and they just got demolished. That's no more bandit on the board for a round for defenders, which is not the worst thing in the world. Yes, you do lose a C4, but at least the bandit charges have already been placed, so you don't die with any active utility in your pocket. Stockaby, she's going to be pushing onto Pixel, and the drones are coming out right behind her as well. Usually the drones go out in front, but who am I to tell them what to do?
Well, you are the commentator who has a third-person perspective and can see a lot more. Not as much as our good friend Max D, but regardless, we're going to see a push now from Hawkeye. They have the man advantage. Sam going for that same flank push. Meanwhile, I guess we can call it a flank, but the buck of Atlas also making their way up. There is no gridlock tracks on the side of the stairs this time, and instead it's actually going to be just a standard push. Won't be able to get the kill. C4 chucked up. Meanwhile, Pete is going to be able to take out Silver. All left up to Deadly Parrot and Sam. Sam, of which who's completely off site. Deadly Parrot stuck inside the freezer with no viable rotate out. Playing the long angle, waiting for something to happen as Atlas will be the one to find Sam. Spraying out, flawless run denied by Parrot. They'll have to find another 4, but nope. Wagons is going to find their kill, and that's all she wrote for the round.
I'm 99% sure this is at least the second, if not the third time we've seen Parrot on Wamai just stuck in freezer without any rotates out, which means either they shouldn't be there as much as they are with, no way of getting out, or it means that their teammates inside are dying way too fast and relinquishing control so that the attackers can just push onto side and then keep them pinched in there. Either way, not good for Western Tech. They need to fix that in the upcoming rounds. They have won Kitchen so far, lost top floor twice, so it is smart that they're going on to Fireplace this time around, and it is going to be another round before they can go back and reattempt holding
Defenders,
Kitchen once
protect your
again,
bombs
which
from being
again they have been
defused by
successful
attackers.
on. Maybe they can replicate it come in round 5, but round 4 they are stuck on Fireplace and Mining, and we haven't seen this bomb side in quite a long time. Usually nowadays it's Reading and Dining instead. Fireplace just kind of old and washed and
Attackers have located
not
a
seen
bomb.
anymore at all. But I am curious to see how Western Tech set up for it and how they end up holding it.
Well, let's look at the different operators on the side. Now, this would be also a really clear time when any sort of operator repick or attacker repick
5 seconds to insertion.
would be an absolutely huge feature that is not yet introduced within this league.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Are you meditating?
No, Wagons just repicked, but regardless, that's not my call to make. We will be able to see the fuse push into possibly train, but I'll leave admins to make that call, and it won't really matter. So I'm really rooting for Western Tech, but we'll see if it is. It is legal. Okay, we have nothing to worry about. We are going to be able to see that attacker repick was used quite well by Wagons, especially use the fuse because of how potent fuse is on a site like train, because of how condensed the defenders are.
When fuse is extra potent, when you use your cluster charge vertically up from the above, and then 2 of your enemies just sprint into it as soon as you detonate it. I feel like that's when it's most potent, really. But we'll definitely see what ends up happening here. Fuse on the LMG, yellow pings are coming out. They see Sam on the Valkyrie. They aim a little bit too high, but they correct and adjust soon enough. They get the entry pick. It's going to be Y going for the swing, trying to refrag there on the Fuse. They shoot prematurely and they give away their position, but Fuse doesn't react. It's a 4v4 now, and that was such a throwaway of their advantage coming out from Hawkeye. I don't know what's happening there. Pete is trying to refrag, but it may be too little too late. The Wamai, no, he gets down. Atlas comes in clutch, and the Sledge and Bug, the duo of self-destruction, they finally shut down Wamai as well.
Glad to see that they were able to make a really good impact. So although it is a 2v4, Hawkeye is a little bit more disadvantaged because they did lose that very potent operator fuse. And they're going to have to now use 2 ace charges to get open the hatch of train if they see fit. So it really puts a wrench in their plans. They have to change their push up. They have the Buck as well as the Sledge to make sort of any vertical holes that they want to. But as you can see now, 2 Selma breaching charges onto 1 hatch just does not seem like the most logical move. It does hurt to see.
Well, you know what else hurts? JV being shut down by Atlas once again. This feels like deja vu because again, it's a 2v4 for the defense. Well, no, never mind. Make that a 2v3 and Silver show up. They barely make it out of there alive, but they are alive for now. Make that a 2v2 actually as Legacies. They pick up a kill of their own as well. That is a 2v2, and yes, the Aruni is very low on HP. 25 seconds left to play with. No smokes under Gridlock. No Gridlock left either while we're at that. It's up to Lobster. Clutch just went out. Diffuser in hands. The Aruni gate there is going to be a problem. Punching the Barb also not going to help. They're looking for someone who isn't on red. They're long gone. Aruni has rotated up around already. And there we go. They find the last kill as the defenders finally get another round somehow, some way.
Somehow, some way. I think it's more in Hawkeye's inability to really confirm their kills in that sense, where they need to make sure they have that good spatial awareness, especially when you're clearing that third floor. You need to check absolutely every single nook and cranny imaginable. Bathroom must be droned. You need to spray pre-fire, whatever it takes, especially when you hear a shot. Perhaps the fuse did not have advanced gadget placement on, so they were stuck
Defenders,
within the
protect your bombs
animation.
from being defused by
But even
attackers.
then, it's a question that I should not be having to make. It's not a question of advanced gadget placement. Advanced droning
Attackers
is
have
on.
located a bomb.
For anyone playing Siege, make sure you go into your settings, advanced droning, advanced gadget placement. Make sure they're on.
Well, make sure to have other operators besides Rook as well. Actually, no, never mind. You know what? I'm speaking blasphemy. JV's not on Rook this time. It's actually Legacy's 9. And I'm kind of surprised by Western's insisting on
10
how
seconds
they
left
just
before
keep bringing
insertion.
Rook. I don't know if they really just don't know any other defensive operators
5
that would
seconds
fit
left
into their
before
comps
insertion.
better. And yes, the 2-time scope on the MP5 is nice, but there are so
Attackers are
many
heading out
other
to defuse
crucial
the bomb.
operators to bring here. You know, for example, a Jaeger. Yes, there is a Humai on board, but on Kitchen definitely doesn't hurt having more projectile denial, especially since we've seen Hawkeye play Fuse so very often.
Maybe you could go for the Jaeger, like you said. You can go for, if you really want the 3 armor, a Maestro. That could work really well downstairs. Maybe someone with the C4. We know the Cade is banned, but that doesn't mean you can't take... Perhaps we're trying to think of another 3 armor, but even without a 3 armor, perhaps
I mean,
a mute.
I was gonna
a
say
Mozzie.
Echo. I was gonna say Echo.
That's a
I was
phenomenal
gonna say
one.
just take Echo drone for your team, but then I remembered we've barely even seen Western drone on attack, let alone on defense. I don't think that's possible. Speaking of drones, though, the Frost G is gonna get yellow pinged, and yellow pings have been utilized.
Don't know where you went there. I made the big mistake of saying the word echo and turned on my echo dot, but regardless, that's all dealt with now.
Apparently
Echo
so.
apparently so. Gotta make sure you mute that. Watch out. Regardless, look at this. No. Oh.
No. Buck just learned they have to drop down because vertical destruction doesn't work like that. Well, you know what? Every day we learn something new, don't we?
Yep. Every single shot is a new learning experience. Said by Michael Scott or Wayne Gretzky. I don't know. Regardless, Wagons placing down their secondary heartbeat charge, and it will be successful. Sam to be able to shoot up and find Pete, or no, not even shoot up. They've made their way up. They'll be able to find a second kill onto Lobster and still escape their life. Swinging around looking for a third. They'll find it. Hello, Sam. Swinging around, they still have control of reading. Can they find a 4th kill to their name and almost entirely shut down the push, all from pushing the 2nd floor? The 2 remaining players of the Gridlock and Wagons are looking at pinch out Sam, but there's no reason for Sam to push. They have Case right within their arms. Silver also deploying their Sharia gates means that they are redeploying, resetting up. But I gotta tell you, Boxy, things are looking quite dire.
I am definitely happy that at least this time around, Sam isn't getting aggressive after already getting 2 or even 3 frags in this instance, or in this case. I do feel like they should just keep holding. Sadly, they fall, but they still deal massive damage to the Fuse. Fuse still has 2 charges and 1 hard breach, but they're running out of time. They have Diffuser as well now, which means they can't play vertical forever. At some point, they will have to drop down and actually plant the Diffuser or lose the round on time. They go for the drop, but they just instantly get taken out. They did secure 1 with their cluster charges, but that doesn't end up mattering in the grand scale when you drop down into the side that everyone knows you're going to drop in 5 seconds left on the clock.
Put yourself in the defender's shoes. And that's what I want Hawkeye to be doing. Put yourself in Western Tech's shoes. What do you think they think you're going to do?
I don't think.
Fuse charges. There's a few charges being placed and detonated within the first 15 seconds. Or, sorry, last 15 seconds. Where are they going to go? There's only one spot, and that's the Fraser. That's why you have 2 people looking there.
Need to locate
So what you want to do, you want to establish vertical angles that actually allow you to eliminate any sort of angle looking at Fraser, or to have a comrade of yours, a teammate, really look and assist.
Well,
Then
the
from there,
Fuse... Sorry, I thought you were done.
Continue.
The Fuse... Excuse me. We've seen the Fuse die with at least one more hard breach gadget in their pocket twice now on that kitchen push. They've always opened the dining hatch, but they never actually shot the bandits or the denial on the wall, rather, and then they didn't go down, white stairs and open up the freezer wall as well. Yes, it does technically
10 seconds
enable
left
another
before
rotate for
insertion.
the defenders, but you can also use it to not
5 seconds left before insertion.
let the defenders explicitly know when you're going to be pushing from. If you open both the hatch and the
Attackers'
wall, well,
objective is
there's a
to defuse the
50-50
bomb.
chance where you're going to go. If you just open the hatch, it's that giveaway. Just stop down with utility. Take 15-20 seconds out of your route. Go down those white stairs. It's only one floor. It's like 20 steps. Place the charge on the wall and keep them guessing. That's all I want from Hawkeye.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
And all I want for Christmas is you,
Attackers
Boxy.
have recovered their
On a
Oh,
very
that's
Christmas
something-
themed. It's a very
that's
Christmas
something-
themed map.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that a John commentator or fellow would say. So I'm glad that you're still keeping up.
I'm
the
gonna
beat
keep it
of,
a buck 50 with you. I've been casting with fellow for a really, really long time. So picking up on things like that is just kind of my jam, Being John commentating and all. I mean, I might be like a Walmart budget version of Shark Boy, but I'm a Walmart budget version of Shark Boy that sounds a little bit like fellow.
That's absolutely true. Wait, focusing back on the round at hand, we're gonna see a engagement quite early on there. Lobster gonna shut down one. The planet is going down. Make that 2 for Lobster. Actually, Sam finally finds one of his own. That's just not enough. Picks up one more. Atlas shuts him down. It's a 1v3, and Legacy's on the route. It's just on the other side of the world currently. They're slow. They're at 3 armor, which means not only it'll take them a long time to get back to the bomb side, but they're also making a lot of noise doing so. The fact there's also a nomad on the offensive side means that there's absolutely no way in hell you're going to be able to get back into the side in time. 20 seconds left. There you go. The first air jet comes out. Well, not much for you to do there if you're Rook. You can try and pad your stats a little bit, but that's pretty much it. 7 seconds left, and that's all that you have to work with. Your mag is full. Go for some pre-fires. Get those kills, King. I believe in you. Well, not even going to find one. Peach shuts down Legacies, and that is a round. Coming in
That's
for
the
Hawkeye.
game. Regardless, that's a 3-3 half, and it is going to be more favoring the attackers of Hawkeye, because especially on a map like Cafe, I'd say defending is definitely the easier of the two. And I heard that. Do you have a counter opinion? Because I think this one is definitely up for debate.
Wait, you said defending is easier, right?
Yes.
Okay, I agree. I thought you said before that. I thought in the same sentence you said it would be attacker favored, which I don't know.
Perhaps I worded it wrong, but 100% I think defenders have the advantage on
Attackers
Cafe.
need to locate and
I feel like on most maps in lower level competitive, defense is just easier to play. Just because you can kind of hunker down somewhere and you have like 2-3 people inside, and then the other few like 1 realms to just kind of lurk around the bomb side. It's relatively simple to play, and you don't need to actually push as coordinated as you do when you're on attack. So I feel like unless we're talking about tier 1 and 2-2, defense is always going to be better. On Cafe specifically, I'm not sure. I'd say Cafe is relatively 50-50
10
at
seconds
this
to
level.
go.
Yeah, you definitely. Well, statistically, I think you'd be correct as well, as we see a 3-3 split from both these teams. But
I mean-
last time we saw Hawkeye on defense, they did a phenomenal job. They only dropped, none of their rounds. So they have a flawless defensive stat so far, and we'll see if they're able to keep that defensive stat up.
That's true, but also their attacking stats were, well, much better than they are on Cafe. Western Tech, the fact that they are currently keeping up with Hawkeye, and they even had the advantage going into last round. It was 3-2 for Western, not for Hawkeye. That means that somehow Western are still showing signs of life, and maybe there's still some hope for them. Maybe, potentially, we could even see map 3, however unlikely that is. I will remain on Hopium. I do end up hoping, and we'll see. Nice C4 toss coming out. Yep, there we go.
Goodbye. Good night.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
That's what happens when
Legacy
your
is-
hard breacher swings the skylight. I don't know what you expected there, buddy.
Right into the danger zone, and a second C4 is going to down Sam. Can we see a third, maybe an impact? I don't think.
no.
Wait, what downed them? Because there's only one C4.
I think this pixel peak. We didn't quite catch it. I think this pixel peak just here in front of my the angles seem to align at least some extent. So
Well,
I wouldn't be
then,
surprised if that.
Let's think about it. You were just down by this angle. How do you stop it? Do you re-peak the? Let's play a little guessing game.
Attackers have
A,
located
do
a
you
bomb.
re-peek the angle? B,
Well,
you get on the window? Or C, do you just run him right into sight? B is
All
what
of the
Sam's going to
above.
go for. Well, all of the above could work. One of them favors the defensive a little bit more, but we're going to see Sam actually go for the right idea, which is to rappel right onto that window and really fire right on through, trying to displace that
Wait.
Wamai and finally find them. No, that's not even going to be the Wamai. They'll be able to escape. Meanwhile, Wagons also to find Deadly Parrot. I'm so sorry, Boxy. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry, but I'm so sorry. But did Cap Tao just give away his position on White Stairs by shooting at his teammate's drone? He did flick away at the
Yes.
last second, but I think that's what got them killed there, and that is just devastating for Western Tech's attack. They had such a good thing going on, but the Wagons, he's just picking Western Tech apart one by one. It is all up to Silver Shelf. They've had a few nice rounds. They're 7-4 currently on Iana, so there is that. But the other attacker is still alive. It's the Twitch 0-5-1 with the DMR and the Claymore still up. So I'm not too optimistic about Western's chances here in round
Bomb
7.
diffuser has been dropped.
I'm not either, but I'm pretty confident in Wagon skills, and I think they're looking to get a 4th kill there. Swinging around, they'll find it.
There we
4
go.
for Wagons. Really maneuvering around those holes, and I gotta say that Russian reflex looks so very good on Jaeger's gun. Wow. It looks so clean.
I personally I'm a fan of, I think it's called Hollow B. It's the one that was initially introduced on Mozzie's gun, I believe. So
Earth to Boxy. Earth to Boxy.
hello.
Hello.
Okay. Well, Boxy internet moment. I do come from a faraway land in Europe, so excuse me if my internet drops out every now and then. It just happens. I wish I could help it, but I can't. Boxy moment is what we call it, though. And
Bomb located by attackers.
let's just hope they don't happen too often. We are back on the kitchen defense. This time it's Hawkeye setting up their defensive setup. And Western, they will try attacking it, picking it apart, getting those kills, getting the map control, getting the vertical pressure down. There's so much to do on Cafe as an attacker. I think that's the biggest problem most teams have with Cafe. It's just that there's so many things to do, and you need to do all of them right. And I am not too optimistic if Western can actually do it.
5 seconds to insertion.
I do think that is the question on every single person's mind. A
Attackers
good
are
switch
moving
from
to
Deadly
defuse the
Parrot
bomb.
over onto the Fuse. Flores as well. They have the lineup, especially what I would expect them to be able to play with. If they do maneuver around in a proper fashion, they're able to get the hatch open because Kaid is banned. They are going to be able to get at least 2 walls open. If there's any denial, they would just swing around with it. Once again, alibi shotgun. Interesting choice. And it was spotted out right away, so you don't get the pings. I don't know what the point of that clone was, but
I think it
regardless,
was exactly what we've seen, right? Like, the fact is, yeah, it'll get shot instantly, won't give out any pings, but at the same time, Alibi, and I know someone's there, and she yellow pinged for her teammates. She relayed the information that at least someone is playing outside white in garage, and I think that's a lot of intel to get that early on as a defender. Speaking of defenders early on, Wagons, he is looking the right way. He will take out Sam, who's been just getting sloppy and cocky. He's had a few nice shots, but now he's just sprinting into defenders. And again, that's not something you can do, especially if you're playing a soft or a hard breacher. And he was on Sledge, which means soft breach capabilities are almost gone for Western. Unless you end up using the floors for terror drones, there's very little you can do to open up vertical holes now.
they could try to make it work. They
You
have
can always
Fuse with
shoot
those
the
hard
Twitch
breach.
DMR.
Yep, it does have the destructive capability. The Twitch TMR could double in this case. Vigil on the roam. It's Pete with that K1A, as well as the ability to hide from the drones. Whether or not they're able to find the hole. Yellow ping's coming out. They have the information. That means the default most likely was not shot. Spring out, giving away their position, but they'll hold the tight angle instead. Swinging left, right, and center. Pete also activating their ability to get right on out of there. Down the stairs they go rather than going for an aggressive flank. And I'm a fan of this choice. It means that they're going to have a lot more freedom. With a 4v4, chaos is about to ensue and 1 minute remaining.
Well, it is a 4v4, like you said. The attackers, they have sun control established, but the defenders, they're still roaming wild. You can see them down below New Bakery. They're playing coach check. They're just everywhere. And speaking of everywhere, we are going to see the same hatch breached by Defuse. Once again, this time it's coming out from Western Tech. And those pucks will also be deployed. They will not deal any damage to the defenders on side. And defenders, they're just chilling. They're not even on side. They're just playing this extended castle hold. And the only thing, again, that they need to hold is the hedge. 20 seconds left. Legacies will be going for that drop exactly.
15 seconds
Lobster did
remaining.
stop watching it for just a few seconds. So if the thermite had dropped then, would have been really great for them. But
10 seconds
nope,
left.
they just drop into them. Now they know someone's watching it. They go for a second one. They're just running
5
into
seconds
Lobster.
remaining.
That's 2 for him. Almost 3. The time is going to run out.
Operators, you have run
Foxy.
out of time.
Bingsy.
Oh, that felt so wrong. Oh, that felt so wrong. Binksy. That's actually I've never been called that before. But what's the definition of insanity?
Oh no, not again. The definition of insanity is, paradoxically enough, you asking me this question every time we cast together. For anyone unaware, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different outcomes, which is all fitting.
Now you could argue that within Rainbow Six Siege, you're never doing the exact same thing and expecting somewhere else. But when you're
Defenders,
pushing,
protect your
having the
bombs from
exact
being
same
defused by
information
attackers.
and no ability to change the outcome, where your feet are being shot before your head is being shot. Like, if they were able to actually land inside freezer and then move around before they got shot, then I would understand it. But it was the actual choice to drop that freezer hatch without any sort of assistance, any sort of blinding. And I think a
Attackers
thermite
have
dropped, so
located a
maybe they
bomb.
had some flashbangs in their pocket. But it's little things like that that we're looking for, especially from Western Tech, to utilize within their pushes. Otherwise, they're really setting themselves up to fail, especially when you have Hawkeye doing such a solid
10
job
seconds to
at just
insertion.
sitting patiently.
I don't know why, but it feels like both Hawkeye and Western Tech, they just think that the kitchen freezer hatch is the only way to get into the bomb site, because that's all we've seen. We've just seen people be above with Fuse and dining and in mining, and then when it's time to get into the site, no one's actually on the bottom floor. They are all just trying to drop that freezer hatch, and we all know how that one ends. We've seen it plenty times just throughout this specific map. It is 3-5, so if Hawkeye win this one more round, that I think they're likely to, we'll be edging match and series point. But we're still a long way from there. Let's see how this round plays out first.
Are we though? Hawkeye is still yet to lose a defending round. I need to point that out.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
They still have a 100, and I can't believe I'm using that word, 100% win rate. They're using a great job. They didn't take me on the last map, but now they're using it to great effect up here on the 3rd floor bar and cocktail side. This enables them to actually really have that control, have the constant information. Now, there is a Twitch, which they have to watch out for, but to counter a Twitch, that is the mute. So a lot of moving parts within this round. But interestingly enough, this is one of the first times I see a bottom-up push here on the side of Cafe. So really a lot of moving parts, even more than I would expect on a 2nd floor push, and it will be Parrot to find the opening kill onto Pete.
Pete's not going to be moving anymore, so that's one less moving part to worry about. And the entry going to Western, well, I'm happy for them because they need every advantage they can get. Like you said, 100% defensive win rate, nothing to mess about around about. Oh my god, English is hard today. A lot of yellow pings coming out from both teams, and I'm happy we're seeing those capitalized on. Mostly Hawkeye though, they've been putting them to work literally every single round, and I'm glad that teams are adapting because it's honestly high time. The amount of times we haven't seen yellow pings just throughout NJCAA has been absolutely heartbreaking. But help by shotgun, the slugs coming in clutch once again. Sam's gonna be the one to fall. So it is a 4v4, 50 seconds left. And again, the attackers are lacking any hard presence. Wagons will make that even harder because Deadly Parrot has now been taken off as well. Flashes are coming out in trains. There's just 40 seconds left to play with.
Twitch's DMR, as you mentioned earlier, it's like a horse. Legacy is kind of also able to really shut things down if you hold the right angle. You can do a lot of damage per second, but if you're going for those close and personal shots, it's going to be the SMG-11. You want to find that head, and Atlas will do so. Meanwhile, the shot from Atlas will find a second one onto the
15
DMR
seconds to go.
Twitch. And Silver, the third person to step up to the plate, will also fall victim to Atlas's SMG wielding skills. And that's going to be the third headshot. And you know what? 3 strikes, you're out. But in this case, Western has 1 more strike to go. As 6 rounds or 7 rounds, you're done.
Well, we are very close to Western Tech being done. And again, this matchup is so very important for them because next week they play an undefeated team. And if they have 3 losses, which they're very likely to have after this week and next week, they don't make playoffs. It will be a shame that they've, done relatively well early on in the regular stage and then they just kind of can't make it across the finish line. But at the same time, that just means that it's going to be Barton, I think they're called, taking
Defenders
spot number
protect
Yes,
1,
the
and
bomb
Barton.
Hawkeye
being defused
taking
by
number
attackers.
2 seats, very likely. And, well, with how we've seen Hawkeye play today, that's very much deserved.
Yeah, Hawkeye's really demonstrated that on the defending end that they have a lot going for them. And it could be from the inability from Western, but I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that it's largely inferred to how
Bomb located by
proficient
attackers.
Hawkeye has been. And if you look at the intricacies within their setups, they are well aware of what they have the ability to do
10 seconds to insertion.
and the different amounts of rotates that they have. Funny enough, I have a question for you, Box. Did you remember there used to be a hatch within inside a freezer?
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Was there? Oh, there
was. That's where reading hatch was.
Oh, that's true. That's tragic. Speaking of tragic, MC gets the entry and it's onto Vigil. Wagons has been pulling and hauling weight for his team so far. 12-7 currently, followed only by Atlas on 11-4. Everyone else trailing behind. Quite hard. So the fact that the entry kill happened in the first 15 seconds of the round, I think Western can be optimistic about. But on the flip side, we've seen them have the early advantage for 3 rounds in a row now, and they've always failed to capitalize off of it. Maybe though round 3 is, their lucky round. Number 3 is the lucky number after all.
Yeah, I do
Bomb
think that you have a
located by
point there.
attackers.
3 is one of my favorite numbers. Same with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as the list goes on. But
Just
on
like
the
numbers.
side, I really do like numbers. I think they're quite cool. Annoying at times, but still quite cool. And I want to highlight that shield that we just saw vaulted over. The cool thing about that is if you protect it with enough ADSs or my pucks, there's actually no way to get around it. Perhaps on the other side, but if you place it properly, you can actually deny the vault in. So by denying that vault, you have attackers needing to play in an awkward position, and you also have the defenders who are able to play with it a lot more comfortably, where it provides the extra protection to more than one angle.
Again, we see Western droning, but no one really following up on those drones. But at least they are droning, which hasn't really been the case for the entire series today. So they are slowly evolving, just not at a rapid enough rate actually pose any real threat to Hawkeye. First half, very equal. Western on defense, they were putting in some weight. Hawkeye had a little bit of a problem, especially getting into sight when the site happened to be kitchen dining. But now Hawkeye seem invincible. They get another kill. Samsy's gonna be the one to fall from a C4 from Atlas. Lobster increases the lead for his team, but not for long as Legacies gets one more. It's a 3v3. Legacy's low on HP now, and they need to play this so very carefully. They get taken out by Legacies.
Why are you
though.
swinging?
That's a double. That's such a dumb swing to die to. And this is, again, Pete just getting way too cocky when they really shouldn't be. 40 seconds left. Maestro looking at the freezer rotate. The Yellow pings are coming out for Hawkeye. Once again, now the red pings follow suit. White soon after. 30 seconds left, though.
2 LMGs spraying at each other. Who will come out on top? It's going to be deadly pair. All left up to Atlas, 12-4. They don't like dying, but now certainly is not the time to die. They have the opportunity to shut things out. Keep the 100% win rate for the
15 seconds to
defenders.
go.
You have the pings through the wall, meaning you could go for the shot,
Attackers are
but
activating
they're going to
the
opt to
diffuser.
leave it.
Attackers need to
Swinging
protect
around.
the
They want to
diffuser.
have the
Position
eye
compromised.
swinging, and it's
Oh,
going to be
no!
Legacies to win it out. Western staying alive for one more round, and there goes your 100% defensive win rate stat.
I can hear Western singing, staying alive on their comms right now because they are barely staying alive, but they are, like you said, the 100% defensive win rate for Hawkeye is gone. And while I honestly do not think Western could push it to overtime, there is only 2 rounds that separates them from doing just that. So, caster's curse is a real thing. I say they can do it. Next thing you know, they'll be doing it. And then all of a sudden, somehow they'll win map 2. And then we'll find ourselves on club. I think it's
It'll
club.
be
Yeah, it is
all
clubhouse.
your
Defenders, protect your
fault,
bombs from
Boxy.
being defused
Oh,
by
it always
attackers.
is.
It's always your fault when it's
It's just
a
how it
bad
is.
thing, but it's never your fault when it's a good thing.
Why are you talking Matt Smag? For a man that says he loves numbers and hasn't asked me for mine yet, I don't think you should be talking. You should just focus on the game we're casting.
Well, you know what? I'll send you a friend request on Discord.
I'll
There you
take
go.
that.
There you go. But I think that will be good enough.
10 seconds
Diving
left
back
before
into
insertion.
this game, however, there's a lot to be desired on for Hawkeye on that previous round. We saw them throw bodies at the problem when indeed they really just had to be patient, and that's something that we saw Hawkeye do so well in previous rounds. They did a phenomenal job just waiting and making sure that Western had to be the one to make the blunder or go for the push. But we gotta highlight Pete. They had control of reading, or sorry, not reading, Cigar Lounge, and they completely gave it up by running across the shield. You never ever want to run across there because of all the line of sights that see you. You want to stay hidden, and that will give your team the greatest advantage, just denying a room from just the assumed presence. They could have ran out of that room and slowed down Western Tech even more from the lack of information that they would have going towards them.
Yep, indeed. Wagons, he's been absolutely unstoppable. Well, besides last round where he was stopped quite fast on the as the entry death, but now he's playing from below, watching for any early skylight drops. And on complete opposite side of the map, not just vertically but also horizontally, we do have Pete being flamed by Capitao's bolt, so no damage is done just yet. Wagon still on the brown stairs, patiently watching the skylight drop, but no one is coming that way as of yet. Atlas playing this quite aggressively. He does have Pete to help him out if the need arises. The drones are coming out top floor for the attackers as well. Sam C once again overextend a little bit. Yes, there may be drones around him, but no teammates to refrag should he meet an early end. He is going on a drone though, so I guess at least he's doing that, slowing down, letting his team catch up, and that is the play to do in this situation as we meet the halfway mark of the round.
Interesting from Atlas, holding red stairs, going to shoot at the drone almost immediately. Now it's just a matter, are we going to see the Twitch, who's finally switched to the FAMAS, push in or send another drone? There's also a Twitch drone that I believe was shot, so that hurts just a little bit more. So Atlas actually knows which operator they're going up against. A nice little bit of information to work with. Sprays coming out, Deadly Parrot to come out on top, going against the castle of Lobster. That gives the man advantage to Western. Whether or not they're able to hold it for the round is all up in the air, and it's going to be essential. They need to get a lot more control. They have the freezer wall open this time, so a hatch drop would even be viable. Wagons to find Deadly Parrot. Goodbye to your Capitao. They got their job done. They used those fire bullets early on the round, and I don't know how much utility they had left. Atlas also taking their time. It's the shots with 30 seconds remaining. Everything is all up.
Okay, goodbye. It's a Twitch dead. That was such a nice shot from Atlas on match point, trying to secure his team to win here. He's swinging in case there's someone else there. Samc pushes up, and he's not looking the right direction. The beeper gives away his position. Silver does find Atlas, and that's a huge opening for Western, but they need to take it. 15 seconds left. They need to win this one. Wagons with a double on the round. It's all up to Legacies and Silver to clutch this one out. 1v3 now as Legacies gets down, and Silver is nowhere near to be found. Triple for Wagons, and make that a quad. Actually, it's Pete fighting the last round of this series as he propels Hawkeye ahead of Western, 5-1 on record currently, as they win Cathay Dostoevsky 7-4 after a convincing 7-1 win on Oregon.
So that actually gives rise to a really interesting situation now. So with Hawkeye winning here, this gives State Fair CC control of their own destiny for their playoff game, as they have the ability to now, within the next play day, they could beat Hawkeye next week, and then they will give them both a scoreline of 5-2. And State Fair would own the head-to-head, meaning they could move on, because if it's between the two teams, whoever won within their head-to-head match goes forward. So for Hawkeye, they have to win next week as well. But for State Fair, they now have a chance. They're not going into the next game, and it's not going to matter for anything. So really interesting to consider that statistic. But what a game.
It definitely wasn't as one-sided on Cafe as we expected it out to be, especially after the Oregon. We have seen Western put in a little bit of work and contend Hawkeye in a few of those rounds, and I think just with their progress going from map 1 into map 2, I think they can be quite happy with that. Yes, they're not making playoffs because they will, almost certainly lose to the undefeated team of Barton next week, but still, I feel like at least they head in the right direction between the games.
Yeah, we saw improvement from both those teams throughout, and I think that's important to highlight, where it wasn't just the same stale gameplay. But on that note, Foxy, that
Yep.
does it for us today. That's all we're gonna
Mm,
have. I believe we have Valorant up next at 9 o'clock. We have an interview, so it's not it for us. All this is amazing. We get to
we
interview one of our players.
We're gonna throw it to a 5 minute break at the player in here, but yeah, we don't. Why you just want to send us home prematurely, man? We
No,
still
I
gotta talk to
don't.
the.
This is a beautiful surprise.
Well, okay, surprise then. I'm glad you're excited, and so am I. We'll catch you after the 5 minute break. We're back for the interview. Well, we're back for the final time today just to do the post match interview. And I'm joined by Bink still. You've been a wonderful co caster today. But we're also joined by Lobster coming in from Hawking. So why don't we say hello to him? There we go.
Hello.
We have him on camera now. How you doing, man? Congrats on the win.
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Doing good. Okay. Well, I mean, map one, it was really dominant. You didn't drop any defensive rounds. This was a huge talking point of ours. And on Cafe on game two, you also only dropped one defensive round. So do you guys just really practice your defensive rounds, or was it just something you feel more comfortable on? Like,
Yeah, so in our practices, we actually work on defense a lot more than attack, just because we can set our defenses up. Because when you're attacking, you're basing more off the defense, which is harder to prepare for in some cases. So most of the time,
okay.
we practice our defenses, and I would say I'm definitely more comfortable on defense. So yeah.
Okay. Well, another thing that I've been dying to ask you guys, okay, you got a little bit blurry there, but you're back beautiful, is we've seen you guys bring an alibi, which is fine by itself, but the alibi was on the slug shotgun every single round she was brought. What's going on with that?
I'm not gonna lie. So D-Bots is a very interesting player in his op choices and his weapons, but he can get the job done with them. I'm not sure if he just prefers that shotgun over the assault rifle or what, but I mean, he was getting kills with it, so I'm not gonna tell him to get off or anything. I mean, it works out.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mhm.
Binks, you want to take it over?
Of course. So I noticed a few things throughout the matches, and you mentioned how you're a lot more proficient on defense rather than attack. And I actually want to get a little bit more into that. So let's go and diagnose a bit of the attacking. We saw that you guys did a phenomenal job of droning and then following up, but there were some instances where it seemed like there was a little bit of lost momentum. So within your team, how do you guys pick up whenever a round seems to have gone down the drain? How do you pick that up and say, well, you know what? The odds may be stacked against us. How do we improve this going forward?
So when usually on our attacks, we'll start with our big drones and
We
everything.
lost audio there for a
We
second, I
lost
think.
audio.
Hello.
Uh,
Okay.
okay. Don't
So
hear him.
we'll go in our attacks, and we usually start with our drones, and we'll try and drone complete floors and work our way up, down, wherever we're at. And then if somehow we miss something and we kind of get killed or like we lose our momentum there, we kind of just regroup and like kind of say, okay, that guy died from over there. So we will either try and clear that after the fact, or we'll kind of just push away from it and kind of worry about it later and just use that like we'll say there's one over there, so this area should be clear, and we kind of just go from there.
Okay, well, the part of the answer
Wonderful,
we
yeah.
heard was beautiful.
Was I cutting out?
Thank
Sorry.
you for no,
No,
I
no
don't think it
worries,
was
no
you. I
worries.
think it was on the production side, but
Okay.
we heard like half of it, and yeah. So, I mean, you guys, we spoke about this on stream again. You guys are now 5-1, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
So, you guys will go up against State Fair CC next week, and if they win, you guys will be tied and they have the head-to-head over you, so they get the playoff spot. If you guys win, you're going to playoffs. Any thoughts into going into that matchup? Any final words, anything like that?
I don't really got too much. We'll just take it one game at a time. So we'll probably just start preparing for our next game here after practice. So usually we play a little bit together after our game. So we'll probably start looking into some of that stuff for next week, and hopefully we can just come in next week and get the dub.
Okay. Well, if you want to shout out anyway, your parents, your teammates, your girlfriend, whoever, shout them out now.
I got
And
nothing.
that's
Just
pretty-
shout out to my
You got-
team. Good game tonight, guys.
Okay, well, I definitely hope to see you back, and then later on in playoffs. Thank you so much for taking the time after the win to, talk to us to give us a little bit of an insight. You have anything else, Binks, or is that it?
No, I'm out. That's just about it for questions. So thank you so much to Lobster. We really appreciate having you come out here, as well as to both of our teams that played today. It was phenomenal watching you. So on that note, Lobster, thank you for the interview and great. Honestly, good luck to you next week because I am rooting for you. You
Thank
guys
you.
played a
Thank
phenomenal
you.
match today.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Okay,
All right.
have a good night. Okay, well, that's it for it, Binksy.
Thanks. It still feels weird. It
Well,
still feels weird, but you know what? It's working out, but that is it for us. So if you guys do want to drop a follow on either of our Twitters, you have This Is Boxy as well as Binkscast. We really do appreciate it. But on that note, that's it. Stay tuned for some Valorant here. This is NJCAA sponsored and powered by Esports U. We'll see you next week.